you're willing and ready to contribute your thoughts, your country, or even state. I see a lot of the messages that poured in as it relates to the dollarization of our economy. We'll look at this issue again when it's time for open season. Yes, we have open season. For those of you who do not know, it's a time when we do a recap of our conversations for today. And so I'm just going to run through some of the messages. Hello, Canada. Note that we can't solve production problem without a steady power. Power has eluded us for over 50 years, and it is intentional. The diesel and fuel importers don't want steady electricity in Nigeria. The president is aware of this. Bernard from Port Harcourt with that one. Oyu Ucha Steven says the media is a problem because they are not coming. I don't know what I'd say about that. This one says the fact remains that politicians and the banks are the problems with the scarcity of the dollar, and this scarcity is what is driving the demand of the dollar. It's not just about lows and high. What these banks have in any way helped small and medium-sized enterprises to grow their economy. When you have the need for dollars, you cannot get dollars from the banks, especially if you do business. Therefore, people make resort to the black or parallel market, and these banks round trip the dollars in their custody by selling it at a premium price to the parallel market operators until the CBN wields the big stakes regarding the pricing of the dollar against the naira, and the security agencies reigning the lifestyle of politicians and political appointees. The drift won't stop. And Joe sent that one in, and I think I'm just going to take this. Let's see. It says government should ensure that all foreign companies doing business in Nigeria should pay for all their dealings in naira. Also, foreign companies should also pay their foreign experts in naira. When these companies pay with naira, they will be forced to ensure that the naira has value. Right now from Oji, and you do have a fantastic point there. And you also said foreign experts should be paid in naira right now. Thank you very much for that one. But let's get now into the nitty-gritty for the hour. Yes, it is 5:12 p.m. Once again, I am Kala Dakorubatu, and this is Hard Facts on 92.3 Nigerian. First, I've got something on my mind I'd like to share with you, and it's got to do with let's see, the protests that have rocked parts of Nigeria. We've seen it in Lagos State, we've seen it in Osun State, we've seen it in Edo State. There is the NLC protest to come tomorrow. It's a one-in protest. It's a 2-day protest, even though we saw reports early this morning that CSOs, about 65 of them, have decided to opt out of the so-called strike. We've also seen TUC. We saw that report last week, Friday, coming out to say, hey, we're not going to be a part of it. We're not consulted. However, we're still going to throw warnings at the government and tell them, hey, things are expensive. There is the soaring inflation, and we can't stand idly and watch things grow worse. The government would have to increase minimum wage. I think there was a recent report like that where TUC was asking for an increment in minimum wage. However, NLC is saying whether you like it or not, we will embark on the strike tomorrow. Also, in the radar of protest and strike, bread operators, I think there is the union for that, manufacturers of bread, or should I say bakers, also planning to go on strike because they have their own demands that they are asking the government for, and that strike is supposed to happen tomorrow? I think tomorrow is 27th, right? So yeah, that strike is supposed to happen tomorrow, and so it's really getting interesting. Remember, we started the show Hard Facts on the backdrop of the defense headquarters debunking the rumor of a coup. Now, I don't want a coup. I want the ability to have freedom of expression, freedom of movement, freedom to do what I would like to do, as long as it's within the ambits of the law and not someone ordering me like I'm a military man. I'm not a military man. If I wanted to be a military man, I would have joined the military, right? So when we look at all of these things, we want to ask several important economic questions. Right? So it's no longer news if you listen to Hard Facts every day or almost every now and then. You must have become accustomed to me reeling out the inflation rate every now and then. I like to remind you, of the economic statistics, 29.9%, right? and that translates to mean that the pepper in the market, that translates to mean that the tomatoes in the market, the bag of gari or the cup of gari or whatever it is you buy has also become expensive. And it means that your life basically has become expensive. And we joke about it, that it has become to the cost of living once killed we back that every now and then. However, where am I going with this? The protests that have now rocked part of the country is likely, how things are done in Nigeria, is likely to spread. I mean, the DSS came out last week to tell Labour that there is the possibility of the protests being hijacked. Remember, I mentioned the defense headquarters not too long ago, and the statement that they reeled out about the possibility of a coup or not. And then I'm thinking about the statement made by the president as well, wherein he said, I don't have all the solutions. I'm working on it, and I'm doing my best possible to ensure that Nigerians get a better deal. I'm working on it, but I don't have all the solutions. And of course, that was, while he was in some kind of economic summit with the business big boys in Nigeria. So, also listening to my guest the last hour saying until we have production, it means that the value of the naira will not rise, will not get some kind of strength. And so I can't help but wonder, this protest, what are the implications? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it going to worsen things? Because what it means is that there'll be slow movement across the places where the protests will hold, which will in turn affect production, whatever minimal production we have, or productivity, maybe I should put it that way. It will affect productivity in our society. And remember, we saw a report recently where it said the GDP grew. I think it was today, somewhere today, I think on X I saw it, said the GDP grew, and it grew well, I should say, I would not lie. However, now what the problem is, how that GDP will now affect or impact the lives of the people in Nigeria. Anyways, that's not the point. The point is, if productivity is slowed down, it will affect the GDP and it will affect the economy in the larger sense. There's also the part of insecurity. If it's a jack like the DSS has said, what then becomes of an already volatile situation? Remember last week, our big story on Friday was that people were threatening the Zamfara state, was it Zamfara now? Yeah, Zamfara state governor, that if nothing is done to tackle the high cost of living, that they are going to join the bandits. And I think he replied on Saturday and said, you can do what you want to do, you cannot threaten me. I mean, I wonder what kind of a reply is, but then we'll talk about that some other day. Also, we saw people in Niger State hijack a truck, and the truck was on its way to, I don't know what it was, where it was going to, but food supplies were on that truck, and the truck was waylaid and the items stolen. So I'm wondering what the necessary implications of a protest will be at this very juncture. And it's a very sensitive point in our existence as a country. And it becomes very relevant and pertinent that you and I have a conversation concerning this issue. Now, the protests were done by CSOs in, the state. Like I said, NLC's protests will start tomorrow. By the way, the government has asked for more time. The government has said, be patient with me. Was it Fayose? Fayose was speaking, and he was telling, he said, it's not Tinubu's fault. There is no magic Tinubu can do. The person who's at fault is Buhari, and it's high time that the president stops supporting or trying to protect Buhari, according to Fayose. We've seen several people come out. I mean, some of you tried to react to Atiko's statement during the big stories, but I said I did not mention it. Even Atiko has come out to say, hey, guy, use the Argentina economic method or structure or use it and see if you can be able to revive the Nigerian economy. Everybody's talking, many notable Nigerians speaking, everybody's somehow got an idea. However, I'm wondering, is the solution in sight? If the answer is no, will the protest bring about the solution that we all desire? I know we do desire, a solution. I mean, your salary doesn't get to the end of the month, and it's not like it was getting to the end of the month before, but now it's worsened. The situation is worsened, right? You're seeing your little children and you're not able to provide for them, so your heart is aching. But really, is the strike the solution to the problem? I'm wondering, maybe we could get to twist the government into agreeing to some of our demands, but will that solve the economic problem? And that's where my conundrum is. That's where my conundrum lies, and that's why it's a conversation that I do think you and I should have. And I always love to hear your opinions, as long as it is within the ambit of the law, as long as it's not flouting any of the law. So what do you make of NLC's today warning? By the way, a lot of by the ways today, sorry. But by the way, the government has said that strike is illegal because there is a court order. NLC has responded that the government is always looking at ways to halt the strike by labor. But what do you make of that protest by NLC tomorrow? What do you make of the protest today? What has it achieved? What would it achieve? Would it even achieve anything? Would it achieve anything? Remember, the government said, hey, be patient. BDCs were arrested last week. It's looking like the naira is appreciating. Could that be government, trying to make sense of, could it be trying to bring to fruition the economic policies it is set rolling? I don't know. Some of you were laughing, was it yesterday, saying, Qatar said they would not want to play ball with Nigeria, and Qatar now is saying that they want to play ball with Nigeria. So maybe we should have that faith, a little bit of faith. I don't know. I'm not saying you should. I'm just bringing up conversations for development, and I'm not telling you how you should think. As a matter of fact, I want to know how you think as it relates to this issue, as it relates to this problem. Anyways, the question I have for you: what are the possible implications of this protest? Of these protests, I should beg your pardon. I made a mistake. Of these protests, if you're watching on Facebook, I think there's a grammatical error there. But really, what are the possible implications of these protests? I really want to know. I really, really want to know. Because some of you say, oh yeah, let's have a protest. Oh, okay, good and fine. I mean, you have your right to that. But what are the economic implications of this? I mean, generally, what are the implications of this? Given, protests that have happened in time past and how they went, what are the implications? Also, I've seen so many people argue, these people will not be a part of it, that people will not be a part of it. Do you think these protests have got political and ethnic undertone, or is that the ethnic coloration, the political coloration? We have to ask these questions because we're very politically minded in this country. We're also very ethnically minded in this country. So I've got to ask the questions, right? So tell me, have we really seen any political coloration to this? Is it because they don't like the government, or is it because indeed there is the high cost of living, and that is what has cost? Because they say we're making sacrifices, right? So should we be protesting when we're making sacrifices? I'd like to hear from you. Really, I do. But I've got a commercial coming up. After the commercial, I'll come back to you, and you and I will talk. There's also something on my mind. I was asking, would you be a part of the, protest if it indeed holds tomorrow? Because we've also seen Labour on several occasions tell us, we're going to march, we're going to go on the street, we're going to down tools, we're going to walk out, and they never do. So if it does happen tomorrow, would you be a part of it? And if you are, what would you be achieving by marching on the streets tomorrow? What do you think you can make the government do, given our economic reality? And I'd really love to hear from you once again. But I've got to go for the commercial to stay tuned. All right, 27 minutes to the top of the hour. You already know you're listening to 92.3 Nigeria Info, and I am Kala Dakorubatubo, and this is Hard Facts. Okay, so I think I've spent a good amount of time explaining what we're talking about. Protests in parts of Nigeria, Lagos, Osun, Edo. NLC's protest to begin tomorrow. Today, nationwide protest is a warning protest. The NLC said, hey government, if you touch any of our protesters, we would make it an indefinite strike or indefinite protest. So I mean, it's getting interesting, but I've got one very important question. How will this impact you and I? What are the implications given our already battered economy? All right, that being said, let's get your thoughts on these very one. It's good to hear from you. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, 0817-923-0007. Okay, those are the call numbers. WhatsApp number 0809 0306 416. We're live on Facebook, Nigeria Info PH. We're live on YouTube, Nigeria Info PH, and we are active on X. All right, let's get to hear from you. You've got Zion from Jerry, but first let's read this one. Ooh, my question is, with all the courses for the free, okay, I think we've moved on from that one. We moved on from that conversation. Okay, I think I've also moved on from. I'm wondering why that's coming out. So the federal government should know that obedience is the natural habit of mankind, but marginal issues continuously reoccur in which the decision to disobey is painfully taken and passionately defended, and that civil disobedience is one of the ingredients of democracy. Odimego Sonny Didia from Omerelu. When things were good, did anyone protest? Is asking, but I'm asking you, what are the implications? Zion from Jerry. Zion, welcome.
Yeah, Teddy. I am not a proponent to protest or strike.
Okay.
Because they never give a solution to a problem, but rather marginal option at that material time. Oh, we want 50,000. Don't worry, more now go. We'll see you to reach.
Okay.
Is it not so? That is protest. Yes, we know that for once the people have allayed their grievances.
Okay.
But I'm not of that school of thought. I want solution to problems. So instead of you to come jam the streets you are protesting, can you go home and mobilize yourself intellectually? And
Zion, I like what you're saying. That's what we try to do on the show, right? Intellectual, what do you call it now? Solutions to the problems that we face. However, some people say the government of Nigeria, any of the administrations you like, only listen to strike. So what would you say about that?
No, that's not true. You see, sometimes when people are aggrieved or they are being victimized over time, they tend to ameliorate their pain through creating a philosophy to help them.
Okay.
How to do now? We just manage them. They don't give us now. You see, like it's because this person has been victimized over time. Who told you protest as solution? How many times have you heard Ghana protest? From 1960 to date, okay, let me say from 2000 to today, have you heard Ghana? They protest.
Yes, I think
when there were no issues.
I think I have. I think I have heard them protest actually.
Ghanaians.
But let's not go into
Ghana
that.
here, our neighbor
Just
here,
last
Ghana
year.
here.
Just last year. Let's not even go far. Last year.
Over what?
Over economic issues. Just last year. But
Ghana
let's
labor union.
Not labor.
You can only
Ghanaians.
see a group of interest people. One of these group of interest people, Mr. Zion and his friends, protesting against John Mahama because of this thing. We are looking for our stomach. I'm talking about a protest against the state of Ghana.
And I'm telling you, sometime was it 2022, 2023? I remember Ghanaians were protesting.
I want
the
to
cost
use
of
this
living.
medium to call on us.
Okay.
The only protest we can do is to mobilize ourselves consciously. Prepare your voters card. And let us come have a consensus candidature. Consensus agreement of the mind across all board. And vote them out.
All right, Zion, I've got...
Anything protest outside this, you are wasting your time.
All right, Zion, I've got to go. Thank you very much. Jude from Amuma, welcome. Let's get your thoughts quickly. There's Obed from Port Harcourt waiting.
There's no implication to protest.
Okay.
It is a way for people to express their grievances.
So it's just an
in democracy.
Expression of grievance then?
Let me give you an example.
Okay.
During the military, protest was everywhere. We protested everywhere. Maybe you have forgotten or you do not know.
But
Ghana Fire when was not allowed to come down from the plane that brought him from Lagos to Port Harcourt for a protest. We did not stop. I used my car from the airport and some of the delegates. Ghana was sent back to Lagos, but the delegates, I brought them down. We had protests at the Lekaya, the Anglican Church, the Old Anglican Church.
Jude, the question, Jude, I don't have enough time. The question I'm asking you,
all I'm saying,
wait, Jude, wait. Wait, I wanna.
Saying is, is our right. If we cannot even protest, we have gotten the democracy.
Now, let me ask. That's what I want to ask you. Do you think? No, Jude, wait, Jude. Oh my.
Where are you now?
Jude, can I ask you a question, please? Can I ask you? Can I?
We had the democracy. We were not mixing up.
All right, fine. All right,
fine.
Is our right. All right, thank you very much. It's your right. I was going to ask you, Jude. Do you think the democracy is as a result of the protest that you protested? It's just took over, decided to hand over to democracy. I'm wondering, do you think if Abacha was alive up until, maybe 2003, that he would have handed over to a democratically government or democratically led government? I'm just thinking in my head, right? Obed from Port Harcourt, welcome.
Yes, sir, good evening.
Yeah, greetings to you.
See, Kalada, I don't think your question is neither here nor there because this is democracy.
Okay.
Under democratic dispensation, protest is one of the ingredients of democracy.
And I agree.
So if you ask first question, I don't think that question is correct.
Obed, you're mistaken. For every action, there is a consequence. So the fact that you're outside today, you're going about looking for your daily bread, there is a consequence to that action. There is a result to that action. And I'm asking you, what are the results going to be? Because they are supposedly they are supposedly results of a protest. So what do you think the results are? And that's the question. So you can't tell me my question.
The result
my question is
to
not
put pressure on the government to do the needful. You understand?
Okay.
Yes, God aside. Yeah. I'm right. And see that the price of things that I normally buy has changed. I myself, personally, I have the right to come out on the street and ask the government why. I have that right. It's guaranteed by the Constitution.
Obed,
asking such questions, it does not exist.
Obed, I agree with you that you have the right. I'm not. Wait, Obed,
why am I doing it? I'm doing it to call for the attention of the government to see what I just passed through, so the government can act on it.
Obed, can we have a conversation?
I'm hearing you.
Now, you've said you have the right. I mentioned the right from the very get-go of this conversation. I am, however, asking you, do you think, now you've mentioned that pressure on government, do you think the pressure, let's be real. Now, let's go back to the mega protest, I don't know what you guys called it back then, Occupy Nigeria, thank you. Did it change the economic situation of the country? I'm just wondering.
But it didn't change.
Okay.
But the price of fuel was reversed.
Okay, I get you. All right.
Yes, it was reversed.
But was that the solution? That's what we're saying. Was that the solution?
It is not. Look, it is the solution. It is everything. You understand? Now, Canada, the reason why you're asking this question is to have a government that are hell bent.
if we have a listening government,
Okay.
when citizens are complaining, are to expect that displeasure over a thing they are feeling that is really hinging on them, the government have every right to be able to appeal to the citizens. You understand?
Yeah.
People do it.
Yeah.
Now, someone talks about Ghana. Ghana has protested over and over again. I recall a time that those lights went off in Ghana. People cannot protest. They were asking the outside the government that they are not Nigerians. You understand? So I think protest were asking for a question if the protest was not is there or
But not see that
people have the right to protest.
see that's where the
And this
mistake.
protest you also talk about.
I've got comment. But that's where you got it right. I did not ask you my. I think now that's why you answering the way you're answering. I did not ask you if it is relevant. I mentioned it's your right. It's your right to protest. I am saying what are the implications, and you somewhat answered the question and then contradicted yourself. You said it is to put pressure on the government, right, Obed? If I heard you correctly, but then you said the government does not listen. You said it, not me. You said it's to put pressure on the government, and then said the government does not listen. So then what is the implication of the protest if the government will not listen? That's what I'm trying to find on the show. So it's not an irrelevant question like you try to put it. I mean, I know someone there understands what I'm trying to get at on the show. I've got commercial. I promise you. At 6 o'clock news, we'll continue with this anymore station.